So, welcome to day two of the Beyond the Food Weight Loss Summit Real Solutions for Women Over 40. My name is Pamela Pedrick. I'm the host and the creator of the summit. And busy women come to me when they are ready to ditch the yo yo dieting, the weight regain, and the constant fatigue. And they are ready for holistic, natural solutions designed for their unique body because they're ready to lose weight now instead of later. And when we work together via my Beyond the Fork Academy, we help their bodies to start burn fat more efficiently, balance their blood sugar, lower their inflammation, and then they are fit, feel light and free. So day two for the Q&A with our speakers today. You can feel free to raise your hand if you have a question, or you can post any questions in the comment section. This Q&A will also be posted in the Facebook group, the community for the summit. If you're not in the group just yet, I'm going to post a link in the comments there to join the group. So you'll see yesterday's Q&A session is also in there as well. However, they will be coming down on Saturday. So if you haven't had a chance to watch a Q&A and you want to, those who have purchased the speaker session votes and the Weight Freedom Pack, you will have the Q&As uploaded into your portal shortly. That is an extra bonus for you guys who did the upgrade from your free ticket. So welcome. We got a couple new faces today with the speakers. Welcome everyone. And so what I like to do is just kind of go around for each speaker, introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, your session topic, and your gift. And as they're introducing themselves, I will post the direct link, to their gift, so that you don't have to go into a different page to get that. That's part of being on the Q&A session. A little bonus for you guys to grab the gift as well. So let's see, we got a couple. Shanna, let's start with you. I know you were on grandbaby duty yesterday. Welcome. We'll start with you
Thank
today.
you. Thank you. Good. Yes, I am on grandbaby duty. I got called over from home to Washington State, and so I'm at my son and daughter-in-law's house and sent the baby to daycare this morning so that I could have my calls.
Aw, well, welcome.
Thank you. I am Shanna Pizer. I am a Christian life and weight loss coach, and I help women to lose the mental and physical weight that has been carried around, keeping them stuck. And my coaching is really based around the idea of starting where you're at, committing to what you're willing to do consistently, and doing it all from a place of love. I like to do what's practical and sustainable and help people to decide what like just that, what they're willing to do from the place that they're at, not where they were 10 years ago, or not where the people on Instagram are at, but like what's realistic for you right now, what's doable right now to do consistently, and then level up as you want to and as needed. Um, my the free offer, or the free gift that I have, is planning pages, and it's really how I set up my planning every morning. It's the way that I start my days, with intention and gratitude. And for the people that upgraded, I have gifted I have a 6-week reset weight loss program, and I gifted the teaching videos from that program. And so you can watch those to get a reset going. And it's a mindset. It's resetting your mind, resetting your focus, and resetting your habits is what the course is about.
Nice. And Shanna's presentation will open up tomorrow, day three, all about self-care, which we do need to do. Absolutely.
And
So I'm
self-care is
curious.
a weight loss
Yes.
protocol. So it's how do I make weight loss just part of what I do, not something extra that I'm adding into my life.
Mhm.
So how do I live in a way to lose the weight that I want to lose, and continue to live that way to maintain it once I get there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm curious for you, Shanna, because I don't know, do you need to hop off early today? Okay, all right. But I'm curious, what do you see as like a common mistake women make? This with the women that you serve.
I think the biggest thing is the negative self-talk,
Mm.
the the shame that they heap on themselves, that we heap on ourselves. And that shame really does keep us stuck and keeps us in a place where we don't believe that health and wellness and strength are even possible for us.
Mm.
And we use the past against ourselves. And I think that when we can shed that shame and let go of that and give ourselves grace and look to the future instead of looking to the past, look to the future for what's possible instead of being limited by what has happened in the past, then the whole world opens up.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for sharing. And so we're gonna go to Lisa Baker. Lisa, welcome.
Hi, I'm Lisa Baker, and I am a health coach who supports women sort of stuck at the intersection of perimenopause and burnout. Most of my clients work in the mission-driven world, and my work is based on my past life as a teacher of foreign language. I use a lot of work around the language we use, how our inner voices talk to us, Shanna. And we do a lot of work also around stepping into our feminine energy because a lot of us are living in a world that was created by and for men. And there's a lot of masculine energy driving everything from our goal setting practices to how we talk to ourselves. So I really invite women to change their language and step into their feminine energy and deal with hormone imbalances and overwhelm and perimenopause hormone imbalances. So that's what I do. My freebie is a workshop that I call Stewarding Emotional Eating. It's a different way of looking at emotional eating rather than as a battle, as a war, which is a very masculine perspective on it. And inviting women to stop feeling like they have to pick up their sword and shield every day and go to war with it. And so that's a 1 hour workshop, not even a 1 hour workshop. And the larger gift is a 5 week email program. I hesitate to call it a challenge because again, I find that a little too much, but it's a program. It's like a mini version of my stewarding emotional eating program, which is a 3 month program.
Nice. And I put Lisa's link to both Shanna and Lisa's gifts in the comment section as well. So, Lisa, with the women that you work with, and I love how you're like, changing the language because it is so powerful. I mean, you speak how many languages, by
Well,
the way?
English on a good day. No, I've studied seven. So working on my seventh right now in preparation for a trip that I'm taking. So
Awesome.
yeah,
So, yeah, there's power behind the words that we say.
yeah. That is really what I like to say is that we use language to reflect the world around us, to talk about what we're thinking, feeling, seeing, experiencing. And the reverse is also true. We can use our language to create the world that we want.
Yes.
So
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that. Love it. Dr. Melanie, I'm gonna go to you next. Hello, welcome.
Hello, hello. Good to be here and happy to see all the happy faces. A little intro, I suppose. I am Melanie Daly. I have my doctorate in holistic nutritional medicine, and so it has been a backbone of everything that I do for many moons now, like several of you have been doing in this space for quite some time. And I kind of have an operating philosophy, and that is be well, be fit, and be fierce. And that is kind of build each other, that you really truly, there's only so many corners we can cut when it comes to our fitness and our health. We really truly have to start with be well as a foundation. And if we can be internally healthy, well, you have stronger building blocks for building that fitness that you might desire, whether it's weight loss or just looking lean and toned and sexy and feminine, all of the above. And that allows you, when you have those two pieces in place and that balance, it allows you that opportunity to be fierce in whatever way that you want to be fierce in your life, whether it's big goals or not so big goals, just being a great mom and a great woman and a great contributor to society, whatever that is, it's whatever your fierceness is. But you have to have a really solid foundation to do that. So that's kind of where I come from, and I work with folks at those levels. And I really feel that in a lot of the work that we do, you have to kind of keep spiraling back. Like it's a daily practice to be well and to be fit and to be fierce, but they all have to kind of fit together, and we have to stay connected to each element of that framework and that foundation. And so that's what I do. So when I kind of encapsulate that, I like to say it's how you eat, how you sleep, how you move, and how you play, to keep it simple, and really addressing all of that intentionally and being not only aware of that and what your personal needs are, but then also working through that. My gift is a downloadable as a guidebook for kind of ditching processed foods and getting into clean eating. Kind of, what does clean eating really mean? Because, everybody hears that a lot. I eat clean, but we don't really understand what that means. And then how to make that transition sometimes from in our home and how we cook and how we think about food. So that's what that guide is. And then I also have for our next level, I forget what it's called,
The Weight Freedom Pack, the upgrade.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome.
Yes. I also have a podcast series called Aging with Audacity. And it also addresses, this perimenopausal, menopausal stage of life where myself and others are, and all of those changes that happen in the body at this time, and how we need to kind of work with the changes rather than try to fight them. It's not a fight, it's more an adaptation. It's a recognition of this is where we are right now in this space. So this is a podcast series kind of walking through a lot of elements about that and how to truly embrace it and age with audacity. So.
I love that. I love that. So with your presentation, you're talking about the insulin resistance, like the big thing that kind of hits us during that season of life. And, I love how you said, don't, because once again, with language, how we think about things and say about things, it's like, okay, the whole dreaded this season of life, perimenopause, menopause. Now we got the belly pooch. I think that you call it the belly pooch. That menopause pooch. Yeah, and the insulin resistance. I'm curious, what are common mistakes that are one big common mistake that women tend to make in this season of life?
Oh, I will say the biggest one that I run into, and I know every single one of you have probably found this too, is that we all think that we can, if we just do what we did when we were 25 or 29, right? It worked then, and everything that we're surrounded by in social media and everything is, these cute young things, and you do this kind of, I don't know, in bodybuilding we call it the bro diet, but what we used to do will not work in this body now, because your body is 20, 25 years older. It's been through a lot. You're completely trying to ignore the changes and your unique bio individuality. And so it's kind of taking that mindset and setting it aside and saying, great, that's what I could do when I was 28 or 30. But now that I'm 45 or 50 or 55, my body's in a different place. And so I have to kind of move with that and just accept that there are going to be some changes that have to make.
Yeah, I love that. Accept it. And also it's working with your body in this stage too, instead of against it.
Exactly.
And so there are some
Yeah.
changes that need to be made.
Yeah.
Definitely. So if you haven't had a
And
chance to watch Melanie's session,
yeah.
also open today, by the way. Melanie's session open today, so you can watch that if you haven't had a chance yet.
Yeah. And I would just add to that there are certain things that we can kind of frame as this is what a female body is going through at this age for example, or this stage of life. But there is a uniqueness to each of that. And so the other piece is understanding that there might be a basic framework or understanding of how to make adjustments to address your physical, your physiological needs. But it really, you have to go a little bit deeper to that and understand that each person's body is unique. Like
Yes.
how you have lived the last 45 years is very different than how your twin sister might have lived the last 45 years. It doesn't matter that you might share genetic,
Yeah.
background, but it's how that body has lived and understanding that and accepting it and then working within that context.
Yes, and one of the things I've come to learn and accept is I've been exposed to mold, so my body works a lot differently. I
Exactly.
mean, and
Mhm.
when I learned about, oh, my whole exercise intolerance and not sweating, I'm like, oh, now it all makes complete sense what I've been going through. So yeah, so that bio-individuality and what where you've lived and your environmental factors absolutely play a huge role in that. Thank you so much for sharing, Dr. Melanie. By the way, her session opens today. Lisa's session will open on day 4 on Friday, but you can grab their gifts are in the comment section there. Let's go to Lita. Lita's session also open today. Welcome, Lita.
Well, welcome. Thank you, Pamela, for hosting such a great event. And good day, everybody. So, my name is Lita Johnson, and I am the owner of Head to Toe Coaching. I'm a health and wellness transformation coach. And my approach is how I named my company, in that everything health and wellness related, whether it's weight loss or disease or movement, really is a complex integration of everything from our head, from what we think, right? We've talked about how we use our words and what we say to ourselves, to our heart and our gut and our feet. So I approach it from a very holistic, functional manner. And I really focus on building lasting daily habits. Because if we do all the right things daily, then the result that we're always looking for, we're trying to attain, they will come. And if we focus on what we're doing daily, and if we have a focus on releasing weight or getting in shape, there's a lot of other things around it that also just that change from doing the right things. And so in the process, I do a lot of education. We're barraged with information, and there's a lot
Yeah.
of myths. There's a lot of non-truths out there. So I really simplify the fact from the fiction for my clients. It's a lot of education, and then I do a lot of teaching in the sense that we rely on our willpower to change. And willpower is a limited resource. I mean, I know if I don't sleep well, my willpower is probably gone
Yes.
by 9 o'clock in the morning, right? So you want systems and tools and processes in place. And that's how I integrate with each of my clients, their unique situations, their lifestyle. And we integrate in a way that is sustainable.
Mhm.
Because I mean, raise your hand. I mean, we've talked a lot about yo-yoing, right? So it's a yo-yo diet, or it's a yo-yo exercise, or it's yo-yo self-care.
Mhm.
So if we think about how do we blend versus how do we balance, right? I think when we think balance, we compartmentalize things, and
Yeah.
there's an equal weight to things. But how do we really
Yeah.
integrate and blend
I like
what we
that
do?
blending versus balancing because sometimes, it's not going to be an equal amount for everything.
No, it never is.
Yeah.
And with life, right? You can be in a career challenge that's going to pull you in a direction away
Yeah.
from your other, or maybe it's a relationship issue, or whatever life throws at us, because it's going to constantly keep throwing things at us. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I love
so
that.
my talk is about movement. So I love movement. I love exercise. So that is my topic. And my freebie though is um, a food feeling function diary. I'm thinking about, I would love to have some sort of app like we have to track our calories and what we eat, but I want to kind of simplify that and have people just write down what they eat and then connect the food to how they're feeling and then how they're functioning. And without all of the tests and the,
Yeah.
the other things, we can simplify that and we can get control pretty quickly once we become aware of, like I have client, well, I eat the sugar and then I have a headache later.
Mhm.
Right. So we can make that connection. So I think a lot of health and wellness is about awareness. And so my freebie is a food feeling function a diary. And then upgraded, if you upgrade it, I have a postural assessment because how we move through life will feel good or we won't. Right. When we're in physical pain, I think that
Yeah.
overrides everything
Yeah.
else because we're just trying to navigate the day. So I'm offering a postural assessment. And if you're playing bingo, I have a throw the dice exercise kind of game.
Yes, that is actually one of the gifts today for bingo. Explain about that gift that you're given, your dice
Yeah,
game.
so my approach to fitness, and in my video, I talk about movement and exercise and really put some parameters because there's actually some requirements, but the difference between moving and exercising, because movement is good for wellness and exercise is good for health, is what I like to say. And so, what overrides all of it is having fun. And so you throw the dice and yeah, you move whatever it tells you to move, whether it's squats or push-ups or some, stretch or something. So you move, and it's really about bringing fun into how we exercise and move. Because if we're having fun, right, what's going to
Yes,
happen? You're going to keep coming back, and you're going to keep wanting to do it.
absolutely. I'm just grabbing the link to the bingo card if you have not downloaded your bingo card. Oh, let me get that one. So yeah, so Lita has generously given that game, called the dice game. So there's your bingo card. So each square, it could be a task, do something, watch a session. It could be give a shout out to a speaker. It could be trivia, which I'm posting trivia today in the Facebook group, which speaker did what or who does what. And so, yeah, a fun way to kind of get engaged with the content because if it's not fun, right, just like exercise, movement, if it's not a little bit of joy, excitement or fun, then chances are we tend not to do that. It's a little bit what I do differently for my summits. Instead of just watching the content and getting the freebie, it's like let's interact with the information. All about implementation. We're in an age of information-itis. We're so inundated with information, but yet we're not implementing. So thank you so much, Lita. So Lita, one thing about Lita, something's coming up in June for you.
Yeah, you remembered.
I
So,
did.
I am 63 and I did my very first Ironman distance triathlon at age 40. And I have completed I have done 8 Ironmans. And this year I'm training for half Ironman, which is a 56 mile, a 1.2 mile swim, 56-mile bike and a 13-mile run. And I'm recovering from some overuse injuries, so I'm really excited to take on the challenge. And we do need to meet ourselves where we're at, and it's okay to not have such a high standard of yourself and just really enjoy exactly where you are. So I can't recall who said that, but that's really important is that we honor where we
Yes.
are and we give ourselves some compassion and grace because at 63 I can't do what I did at 53 or 43 or 33. It's different, but it's also in a way very much more freeing and liberating and empowering because I'm like, well, gosh darn, I'm amazing.
Yes, you are.
I'm out here doing this. I could be on the couch.
Because I can't say I've done an Ironman. I've never done an Ironman. I've never done a marathon. Like I've never done things like that. So absolutely, you're amazing.
Well, you can, and I can help coach you if you're interested.
Shanna says you're fierce.
Oh, thank you. Well, I do believe that, one thing when I started training for Ironmans was that everybody kept saying it's your life, it takes over. And I was anti that from the beginning because if we don't
Yeah.
incorporate these things into our life and I've seen it several relationships and get in the way. And if we don't find that balance, then you don't have the love of what you enjoy doing and you haven't been able to balance what's really important in life, which is relationships
Yes.
and fun and
Absolutely. I love that. So everyone's, yes, you are fierce. Thank you so much for sharing, Lita. So Lita's 63. So she's showing that it doesn't matter your age, basically. Like it's all about lifestyle and I love the blending versus balancing. I love that. That's my thing for today. Taking that with me, blending versus balancing. Thank you so
thank
much for sharing, Lita. And I did
thank you.
post Lita's link to her gift in the comments below. We're going to go to Angelina next. Hi, Angelina.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. So, Angelina's session also is today for day 2. Just share who you are, what you do, and then
Okay.
about your free gift.
So my name is Angelina. I am 43, so also in perimenopause, which is a fun little roller coaster. I have been a personal trainer and nutrition coach for 17 years, which is hard to believe. I have 2 kids, and my daughter's 13. And nobody warned me not to to time my pregnancy better. So perimenopause and puberty of a teenage daughter. A
We
lot of
got the
hormones.
hormones in the
A lot of
house.
hormones. So yeah. Just giving her grace, giving myself grace during this, time. So, I've kind of coached all over the place, but most recently I am getting certified as a menopause coaching specialist, as I have come into perimenopause. And like Dr. Melanie was saying, it just everything that you knew from before no longer applies. And so I was finding that not only with myself, but with my clients, as my clients were, they aged with me. And so really just adding that to my scope of practice, and that's who I'm coaching right now, primarily women who are in perimenopause, some who are in menopause. And my company is called Fit Club. And I founded that business. I mean, I started as a personal trainer in a gym, moved to online part-time mostly while I was raising my babies. And now that my daughter's 13, my son is 8, I have more time and more independent. So I'm focusing on Fit Club, which really takes just the basics. My 2 cornerstones are weight training and macro-based coaching. So that is how I coach. I am a firm believer that as a woman, you need to have a base of muscle. That's your armor as you age. And so that's really what I focus on with my strength training. And then teaching women how to fuel their bodies properly, to build that muscle. And so I do macro-based coaching. I find it works for myself. It doesn't work for everybody, but for myself, and when I bring clients on, I give them that full expectation that, if tracking's not for you, if macros aren't for you, then I may not be, I don't feel comfortable with like intuitive based eating. That's not my scope of practice. So those are the things that I focus on. And then of course, all the other life basics, stress management, sleep, basic movement, so how do we need to change our movements from what we used to do before? I could work out 6 days a week. I trained for something called a 4x4x48. So I ran 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. I've put my body through the ringer. I've done 3 half marathons. But I started, and I was lifting during all of this too. So I hit 43 and my body was like, pump the brakes. So everything just started to change for me. And that's where I really needed to dial in on what I needed to change now that my body was changing. So I still lift. I changed the way I lift. I still do cardio, but I changed the way I do cardio. And just a lot of different factors. A lot of women don't think that sleep and stress management are important. They run themselves right into the ground. And they've come to the point now where we're all about the same place. Our kids are getting older, so they're a little more independent, and they've realized, whoa, I've spent the last X amount of years putting myself last. And so now they're ready to put themselves first. So really just making that transition into, you know, how can we incorporate this into your life? I like that, blending over balance, because I feel like balance is kind of a farce because some things has to give. And I definitely understand where Lita was coming from, where you say, you know, you put everything into training and so everything else gets put on hold. And I've found that struggle in my own journeys as well, and with some of the women that I've worked with. So it's really, how can we take all of these things and make it work in your life? So it is just a lifestyle transition. It's not where you're just having to come in and overhaul everything, which usually doesn't, it may work for a month or two, but then usually after that you fall off. So most of my clients who've been with me since I started Fit Club in the beginning, you know, stick with me because they are things that they just work. They work seamlessly into their life. So my topic is protein during perimenopause. Protein is definitely having a moment. But I've been coaching on the importance of protein for a really long time, only because I feel like it's gotten a bad rep over the years. You know, people are like, oh, if you eat too much protein, it's going to damage your kidneys and this and that and the other. So there's a lot of misconceptions around protein. So making sure that women are eating the correct amount for themselves, for their goals, to build that base of muscle. So that is my topic, is why protein is important in perimenopause. My free gift is it's a meal, like a high protein meal prep, meal planning guide. That's kind of the thing that most women get stuck on is, okay, well, I have to eat all this protein. How? Like, how do I get all this protein in? So I kind of help to break that down. How can we meal prep, plan? And then I have some recipes included in there as well. The VIP upgrade is a 4-week master your macros or macro mastery guide. So it's just a self paced guide that you go through once, you know, different topic for the 4 weeks, just to help you understand macros, why they're important, what are they, how can they help you to reach your goals. And for the bingo card, kind of a pivot, but I built a program called Build a Better Booty and it did really well. It's an 8-week, again, just self-paced course, but there's workouts and all of that fun stuff. So all the ladies who went through it, they were like, wow, you know, I really did notice a change. So a little bit of focus on strength training there. And I think it's just kind of a fun name, because who doesn't want a better booty?
Yeah, I saw the title. I was like, "Ooh, someone will want that one."
Yeah. So I'm
So if you're
working on a
interested,
series. Oh yeah, like build a better upper body, build a better core, build a, you know, and then just,
yeah.
but the booty came first.
So if you're interested in that gift, that's for the bingo card, Build a Better Booty. So that is for tomorrow. So if you get bingo, and there's more than one person who wins bingo, we'll just put you in a pot and draw name as well. Love that. So I'm curious, Angelina, thank you for sharing your story, because I think a lot of us can relate that the whole all of a sudden, okay, change.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
going on? You know, it's like, all right, thank you, hormones, for playing such a huge role in changing my body right now. Thank you, body.
Yeah.
Like I'm constantly going, thank you, body, for doing what you were designed to do. Thank you for giving me the so we can all resonate with that, us ladies. So I'm
I think
curious. Go ahead.
I think the thing too is, you know, a little bit of taboo comes with perimenopause, menopause. And one of the things I was finding when I was talking with my clients or even potential clients is that they're like, I went to my doctor and I told them all of these things that I'm feeling.
Yes.
And they were like, you're just getting old.
It's
You know, that's
normal.
just, so it comes with the territory. This is your life now. And I was like, that's not fair. It's not fair that women are, you know, being misinformed. And so having, you know, someone to talk to about it, because it can feel very lonely.
Yes.
And even myself being active my whole life, and noticing all these changes, I was like, okay, I can't be the only person going through this. So just, I think now it's becoming a little bit more on the forefront. I've seen it on the Today Show. I've seen it on Mark and
Yeah.
Kelly, where they're starting to talk about menopause and all these things where hormone replacement therapy, all these things that used to be super taboo are kind of, coming into light.
Yeah, and I think social media has been a huge help in that too, where you
Yeah.
see like Dr. Marie, I can't remember her last name, but she's really out there now. And even saying to us, they get very few little, like they're not trained on perimenopause, menopause, which I did not realize, and I'm a nurse, so I'm like, oh, I didn't realize the doctors don't get that. And Dr. Melanie's going, yep, nope. We don't get that with that. So yeah, so which is why I did specifically the summit specifically for women over 40, because there's a time in our life where it's like, oh my gosh, what the heck's going on? What I do, but I'm doing what I've always done, or I went back to what worked for me in the past to release weight, and it's just not doing anything. How many of us can relate to that one, right? That's why I did this summit specifically for this age group. So thank you so much for sharing, Angelina. And I'm just curious, with the women that you work with, what is a common theme as far as what they're doing that's no longer working for them?
It really kind of just running themselves through the mill. So working out, 6 days a week, lot of like high intensity cardio. For me, some women running still is okay. For me, running really just takes a toll on my body now, which is wild because I used to train like so consistently with running. But it just wears me down. So I feel like it's just the intensity of what they're doing and how much they're doing it throughout the week. So that for me was a big eye opener. And so a lot of these women are like, well, and then feeling overstressed, not getting enough sleep, so just all of these things that, I mean, we used to be able to put our body, I mean, I remember in college, it was like, you'd be up until 4 a.m. You'd
Working
make it
on my
to your
paper.
8 a.m. You'd make it to your
Papers
8
due
a.m.
tomorrow.
class, you function, and it was just your life, right? I mean, you could do it, and now it just
Pulling those all-nighters.
yeah, I mean, well, either you're partying or studying, I don't, depending on who you were, but maybe both. But just I think mostly it's just the intensity of which they're doing things. So instead of doing workouts you're lifting for an hour, hour and a half, we need to dial that back. Lifting is still super important, but shortening those time frames, not running yourself ragged. And then, by the end of the week, you're just feeling like, you were just put through the ringer and you have no energy. No energy is a big one. A lot of ladies that I talk to. And so how it's just figuring out, we still need to do these things. We still need to lift weights. We still need to walk. We still need to move. But just kind of making that whole body change,
Yeah. And if you haven't had a chance to watch, Brian's not on. I think he's coming on tomorrow for the Q&A. But he helps navigate, like, how do we do this? How do we, like, I hate to call it time management because he went into so much more than just that, but spoke exactly to that. Like, how do we get this into our day without feeling so overwhelmed? Absolutely. Without, we're talking about, and I think Lisa posted about, balance. Her word is harmony. I love that one too. Love that one. So thank you so much, Angelina, for sharing. I did put her link to her gift in the comments section as well. I think I spoke to everyone who's new for today. Let's go to Melanie. So I was going to say, so there's someone here on the panel who fought over a sweater with Kevin Bacon, and her name is Melanie. Tell us about that story.
Okay, can I just do one thing first?
Sure.
I want to speak to the other Melanie because there's nothing cooler than meeting
Yes.
another middle-aged woman named Melanie who has tattoos and really fun glasses. So wanted to put that out there. So I have been thrift shopping since I was a teenager. Now it's sustainability and it's the fun of the find. Back then it was like looking for something vintage only. And I was going through a dollar bin of cardigan sweaters. I was looking for something that would make me look like Mr. Rogers, don't judge. And I found this beautiful blue cardigan and I only could get one sleeve and it was like, I'm like, why isn't it coming out? It must be tangled. And I looked up and there was a gentleman across from me who had the other sleeve and it was Kevin Bacon. So I got the sweater. I won the fight, or actually he said, you can take it. And I just did this for about a minute. Go ahead and take it. So anyway, there's more to the story, but I'm going to leave it at that because I want to make sure that everybody here has enough time. Oh, and so if you ever play 6 Degrees to Kevin Bacon,
So Melanie just
you
posted.
you are now one step closer by knowing me. Yes,
And
so
he just
thanks for
seems
bringing
like
that
such
up,
a
Pamela.
cool, because we were spoken when we met. Like, seems like he's just a cool, like he could be like a big brother. Like I just cool people. Like he just has that
Yeah.
demeanor with him.
Yeah, so one of the reasons I bumped into him there is that I lived in the same neighborhood as he and Kira Sedgwick and their kids did in my earlier life. And it's not the only time that I saw him on the street. And the same with his wife, just like really kind of humble people is what I saw in them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Melanie, so for those who are new today, for participants, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, and I'll post your
I would be
link to your
happy
gift.
to. So I work in the intersection of weight and clutter, or health, wellness, weight, and clutter. I have been a weight loss coach for over 23 years, but introduced the concept of clutter a few years ago after helping my mom, who is a hoarder, who we are still helping because she is still a hoarder. So my path to both being a wellness coach in weight, losing 60 pounds, and in the clutter, I have like a very close connection with them, which I think, then perhaps that gives my program some validity. Anyway, so I help middle-aged women loosen the load, remove the physical clutter and the mental clutter. And I think that's what a lot of us are missing, that, clutter isn't just I have a lot of things, but it's my calendar, it's my email box, it's my text box, it's people, it's social media, it's a 24-hour news cycle. Like I can just rattle off a list of like 100
That
things that
24-hour
clutter
news
us.
cycle
Right.
drives me crazy. Sorry.
It was supposed to be for good reasons, and all it has done is help clutter our minds. And I think like the number one mental clutter, I can't remember who mentioned it before, but is the self-limiting beliefs and the negative
Yeah.
self-talk. And so it is about extracting all forms of clutter so that we can find health and wellness, happiness, and in some cases, if that's what you're working on, weight loss.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
so my topic is lighten the load, declutter, how decluttering boosts health and wellness and weight loss. And my free gift is my book, Lighten Up the Art of Living Clutter Free. It's like a kickstart guide, and if you have upgraded, then an accompanying worksheet, excuse me, or workbook that goes hand in hand.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So since we're, the summit's all about women over 40, I'm curious, is that specifically who you work with or, clientele wise? I'm just curious.
It's fascinating because it's shifted over the years, but I think
Okay.
that it is shifted with my age, and as a woman on the second half of her 50s, enjoying menopause. Note sarcasm there. And you know what, to the point before, I'm working really hard at normalizing the conversation about
Yes.
menopause, because it hasn't been normalized yet. Yes, we're seeing more and more of it. Yes, people are talking more and more about it. But I don't think I knew enough going into this season of my life,
Hmm.
with a mother who is very open about all stages of life. I still was missing things because my symptoms don't match her
Yeah.
symptoms. And my struggles don't match her struggles. And so as a result, it has been very helpful to surround myself with other people who are going through that, whether they're other coaches or doctors,
Mhm.
or my own clients, because the more you speak and listen with people, the more you learn, and maybe at times I learn more from my clients than I do myself.
Yeah. I was just curious because I know, in this season of life, we've got, potentially caregiver to parents or, with because I was mentioning when we met, my grandmother, when we, moved her to an assisted living facility, tons of clutter, tons of like Tupperware, not even Tupperware, just the plastic where that came from, takeouts and things like that, that we were like, wow. So I was just curious if, with this season of life, if it's more,
So I
seeking your
think some
services.
people have their own clutter. Women who are in the middle of their life
True
have
that.
their own clutter. They have their parents' clutter. They have their kids' clutter. And the kids' clutter could be they live in the house and they're
Yes.
creating a mess. Or, I'm sorry, you moved out. Get your stuff out too. Does that sound like a conversation I've been having recently with kids? Okay. Anyway, and so we get physically and mentally weighed down by this clutter. And I want to be fair to all of us. We have a deep emotional attachment to our stuff. It's,
Yeah.
it belonged to my grandmother, or my mother made it specially for me, or this was a gift early in my relationship with my husband. My
Yeah.
kids made this. Like, and so there are many ways to manage releasing the items without the guilt. Because I think that that's another piece. And you
Yeah.
said the Tupperware. There, I call it the just in case rule. Like, we're hanging on to these things just in case
Yeah.
I might need them. But if I haven't used them, and you pick the length of time that works for you, but if I haven't used it in a certain period of time, I have to be willing to let it go. And I think for a lot of us who have a hard time letting go of things, we're often surprised when we discover exactly how freeing letting
Yeah.
go of things can be.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I've moved a lot in my life, and it's like you get just tired of packing up stuff. So then my last move, I'm like, get rid of. I donated to Habitat for Humanity. I donated to other things. Like I was even getting rid of my couches. I'm like, I'm minimalizing, I'm downsizing. I don't need to hold on just in case. But yeah, so even
Right.
I went through that period of time where I was like, well, I don't know. This was college, but when have I ever seen this stuff from college? Like in the past 3, 5 years, kind of thing.
Well, to your point, a move is often like a really
Yeah.
great time to declutter. And for a lot of people, there's not a lot of warning, or there's not a lot of time between deciding to move and moving. But if we don't declutter first, we are going to bring with us the things that we don't need. And so I often ask my clients to pretend they're moving and say,
Ah.
so is this an item you would bring with you if you moved? No, you wouldn't take it with you? Then let it go now.
Angelina posted that her husband's wanting to give away the kids' play set, but she's having a hard time letting it go. Lots of memories, but the kids are too big.
Those are the moments where that take as many pictures as you can, I mean, and you probably have a ton of pictures of them on that play set. And then the question is, so who could use this? Like, who would enjoy this more than I am right now?
Yeah, yeah. My mentor was a little bit more, I don't say harsh, but she knew that's how I take things. I'm like, speak truth to me, woman. She's like, who is not enjoying this because you're holding on to it? I was like, ooh, okay,
If
all
it's
right,
not serving you
yeah,
anymore. Oh, I've got 100 questions I like to ask, depending on the client, the setting, and et cetera.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I brought Melanie in because at any time in life we can go through some clutter. Holding on to boxes in the attic, or mine were in the garage, and yeah, and like you said, it's for me, it was very freeing. It was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how stressed I was until I was like, let it go. When I saw it going out to Habitat for Humanity and the other organizations I donated a lot of my stuff to, I'm like, oh yes, go enjoy it. Yes, yeah, have someone else. Um,
For sure, for sure. And one of the things that I like to express on a regular basis, if you look behind me or in any
yeah,
place in my home, I'm not a minimalist.
yeah,
I love things, I love colors and patterns and textures and prints, and I like to mix prints and patterns and all the things. But it is about hanging on to the things, like you said, that spark joy, or enhance or amplify our
yeah.
lives in some way. But if it's bringing bad mojo, if like bringing bad energy, then it is something to let go of. So I don't want anybody to think like when they come to work with me, oh my God, she's gonna make me
Yeah.
get rid of everything. No,
Marie
not
Kondo,
everything.
does it give me joy? What's a pencil? It's a pen. I know, I'm being facetious, but I was like, well, so like I did a little bit something differently other than does this give me joy? So
I
I
do
like
want
your way of doing things.
I want you to give an opportunity for other people to speak, but I want to say one more thing about that because, like, I don't ask myself, does it spark joy? But I ask very similar questions. But what I did get from her, the way I fold my
Mhm.
t-shirts is the way she recommended. And my t-shirt drawer has not been messy since I changed that like
Oh,
5 years ago or
wow.
something.
I'll have
So
to look
yeah,
that one
they're
up. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Melanie.
thank you,
And
Pamela.
you're
Thank
welcome.
you.
And next we have Amy.
I will be quick because I have to get on another call very
No worries.
shortly. My name is Amy White. I am a holistic nutritionist, board certified holistic nutritionist. I'm also a certified functional nutrition and lifestyle practitioner, as well as a certified life coach. So when it comes to my coaching with clients, I'm taking the practical, which is the what we do, how we do, the tangible food, eating, recipes, but then I'm combining it with the life coaching, which is all the nonsense going on in our head. So I'm combining the two pieces because you can often have all of the direction and structure on what to do, but your head gets in the way and all those thoughts tend to derail us. And so I have found that since I've been combining those two things in my practice, it's really turned what I do into more of a transformational process. So my program is called Hangry to Healthy Transformational Weight Loss Program or process. Because to me, the weight loss is just this catalyst to empowerment and change. And so I see my clients come to me because they want to lose weight. In reality, they want to feel better. They want something else. There's something missing, but everybody sort of thinks it's weight loss. And so maybe they do want to lose weight. Maybe they want to lose 8 pounds. Maybe they want to lose 50 pounds. Doesn't matter. What I'm seeing is as they're transitioning through their weight loss journey or process, they're becoming an entirely different person. So that's the transformation that I'm talking about. It's not going from a size 12 to a size 6. That's not the transformation. While there is that happening, we've talked about exercise in here, and one of my clients was, she's an executive, incredibly busy. Self-care was making sure she was in bed by midnight. That was it. She couldn't get to the grocery store. She didn't exercise. She couldn't do anything. She had no time. And by the end of her 40-pound weight loss, she was actually training and participating in sprint triathlons. That was for fun now that she was doing. This is a woman who couldn't even imagine exercising, and now she's a sprint triathlete. So it was that kind of a transition or transformation is kind of what I'm talking about. And that is certainly not for everyone. I'm not saying all of my clients turn into athletes at all. I'm just saying all of a sudden they realize they stop looking at a finish line and they just start asking themselves, well, what's next? Because they realize that they have the ability to do what they want to do. And they now understand the idea of recognizing possibility. So it's funny, you don't know what you can do if you don't know it's possible. But then once you start realizing that you have this control, you start looking around and you start seeing possibility in other people. You start seeing like, oh, that woman, I'm also at the far end of my 50s. I'm 58, I'll be 60 soon. But this half of my life is we're spending a lot of time doing high altitude trekking. And last year I trekked to Mount Everest Base Camp. That was a thing. We did that trip. But it's like all of a sudden you realize, oh, there's nothing out of reach. If I want it, I can figure out how I can get it and what I can do to make those things happen. So let's see. So I'm very practical in my approach with my clients. It's all about where they are in life. And again, the habits and making the changes that they're creating work with their regular life. I'm always like, it's like, make it work in your regular life. So my freebie is what I call the decoding nutrition labels. So understanding what you're seeing on a nutrition label, how to read that, and I explain, depending on what your goal is, if it's weight loss, fat loss, how to read that nutrition label so you understand what you're getting and what are the foods you really want to prioritize versus the ones you want to put back. And then for my other freebie for the Weight Loss Freedom Pack is my Metabolic Jumpstart meal plan. And so that's really just sort of touches on the beginning of my whole process, but it's that very beginning. And so that's it's only a 7-day meal plan, but it comes with 26 recipes. So, and I try to make things, you know, they're pretty easy recipes because again, I don't have a lot of time. So I want to make things fast and easy. So that's what I'm offering. And my talk is tomorrow, and it is called Going from Food Restriction to Food Freedom.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Amy. And I put Amy's link to her gift in the comment section. I also put mine in there. I forgot to put mine. My gift is I call it the 20-minute weight loss method for that one. So thank you so much, Amy. And last but certainly not least, we have Leon, and his session aired yesterday. Hi, Leon.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well.
Cool. I'm a little bit tired. Worked all day. Anyway, on the fence. Anyway, I'm a holistic healer, at least renowned in my region, and spiritual teacher with over 35 years of experience in transformational something. So I'm master 49 different healing modalities that are covered in Sanyo methods. It's almost like a medicine by itself. And I'm also founder of esoterictrips.com, and basically I have dedicated my life to helping others achieve optimal well-being and higher consciousness. So achieve that through therapies, healing, spiritual transformational retreats, workshops, webinars, you name it, I do it. And as I said, I'm doing this for over 35 years. I started when I was 10. Now I'm almost 50. So menopause, yeah, it's happening to us too, guys. It's a lot different than to you women, but it's a lot different than feeling-wise anyway. Than I was in, I don't know, in 20s or 30s. So I talked about detox. Basically the power of natural detox, of holistic detoxification, and how to incorporate detox into your daily life to achieve your optimum weight and everything that means with it. So it's not enough to detox once in a while, because the way we live in this fast-paced world, it's really hard to indulge ourselves with clean, ecological, biological food or water, for that matter. So therefore, we need to expel all the toxins we encounter in our life. This also means detoxing our mind. So stress management comes into play as well, not just physical, mental, and emotional stress, but also electromagnetic stress, so radiation from phones,
Yeah.
from Wi-Fi's, from computers, from electricity. It's all over the place. But also this stress of stressing ourselves. So I don't know who talk about declutter our minds, not just our minds and our environment, but also our lives with unnecessary exercises or actions, whatever we do. There are things we need to do, things we want to do, and things we do not need to do. So we need to balance those to have harmony of everything together. So, and detoxification is one of the, let's say, stress relief methods to be healthier and more consciousness. Basically, you can do all the exercises, do everything that you need to do to have higher consciousness and frequencies, but if you're poisoned with your own poisons from toxins, you cannot progress as fast or at all. So you need to do everything. This is the holistic way of me bringing what I have been given, all my gifts, to the society.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And so Leon's gift, the link is in the comments below. It's actually a summarization of his presentation. It's a PDF download of that. And if you're not familiar with, detoxification or detoxing, you might want to grab that. His session is still available. You have until tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern time, to watch all of the day one content and to grab the day one content gifts as well. But if you do have the Weight Freedom Pack, you have lifetime access to everything, including the gifts and the bonuses. With that, awesome. I don't see any question. If you have anyone have any questions of anyone, could be even speakers of each other. Any questions? And we saw the book recommendation, Haggitude. Nice.
I have a question for Dr. Melanie.
Sure.
Do you work with women in like hormone replacement therapy? Have you done any of that yet?
That's controversial, isn't it? I think I do lab testing and
Okay.
determination of where hormones are and maybe how we can stabilize them. I do not prescribe hormone replacement therapy, but I can work with people, and I have certainly colleagues who can work with folks if hormone replacement therapy is an area of something that they would like to address. So in a roundabout way, yes, but it all comes down to that bioindividuality and really
Yeah.
getting accurate testing, not just blood serum testing, but actually there are more accurate ways to test hormones, your entire hormone profile. And so that's a big part of my background is functional lab testing and diagnostics. And so, yeah, we definitely incorporate that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
happy to chat with you further if you'd like. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you on Instagram?
I am. I hate it, but I'm on it. Yeah.
That's how I
Perfect.
am too.
Facebook's fine too.
Yeah, either one.
Hate
It's
it,
probably
but I
best
do.
just email me or something, Melanie@bodyworksfit.com. I'll put it in the chat.
Okay.
But that, yes, we can
I was
definitely
gonna say
start a dialogue.
I can give you the website real quick.
I can stick it in there too. Yes, there's several ways that we can definitely connect.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, I've had
Website.
I've had my own Dutch. I've had a Dutch test done. I had a full like blood panel done. And even though all of my numbers and even knowing all of the things I know, I swear like this month it was like some months are like I feel totally chill. This month was big high, big low. And a lot of my ladies are going through it too. And I don't deal with hormones. I mean, that's not my area of expertise. And it's, trying to get some of my one client, and I'm like, she is struggling hard. I'm like, you need to get your hormones tested. You need to find, somebody, a doctor, somebody that you can work with to help you through. She's got 5 kids. The youngest is like, I want to say in like 1st grade. The oldest just graduated college, so she still has a long, she's got a lot going on. But it's so hard to relay that information of how important it is to get yourself tested because I can only help her through so many things.
Yeah, and with the right testing too, because general Western medicine, they don't get this education.
Well,
They just,
and there's like optimal, there's like, oh yeah, you're totally within range,
Yeah.
but then you're not functioning at an optimal level, which is a totally
Yeah.
different,
But your
thing.
symptoms are, yeah, showing something completely different too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
my numbers are not totally out of whack. I mean, well, the last time I tested, it's probably been almost a year, so I probably need to be tested again. But nothing was, crazy out of whack. And just the amount of random like fat deposits, which I've never had in my entire life. And I eat very similar. I eat pretty healthy and exercise and all that fun stuff. So, but I'm not like super high on the estrogen, I'm not estrogen dominant, at least, according to my test. So it's very interesting, that whole scope of practice. It's something I feel like a lot of women can benefit from, but it's still hard to find the right people to go to
Yes.
get all of that stuff done.
Yeah.
Like it's even in my, I know some people, it's still hard. It's hard to find people you can trust, like who, are gonna do the right thing for your body. So
Melanie, do you do telehealth or do you just work inpatient?
No, I do everything online. Everything
Online.
online because I'm actually located in Portugal. So
That's right.
so I do work globally, online, internationally, as well as in the States and Canada. So yeah. And the other thing that I wanted to address, Angelina, is kind of what you touched on. It's just nothing is linear, right? Like we think it should hit these markers and then it makes this sense and it's going this direction, but it's really not. Everything, it's very cyclical, it's very rhythmic, and understanding that and then pairing that with that unique individuality of where people are at, and yes, definitely getting the testing, letting the body tell you where it's at least as a starting point to begin to help support your body as it's going through the change. Those are all those parts of the conversation that we would have to have. And I like to think of it as sometimes you take big picture, to see the trees or the forest for the trees and then the trees for the forest. And we literally have to keep doing that. Like we have to step back and then we have to dial in, and then we step back and then we dial in. So it's awareness, it's intentionality, and just dialing in again, that uniqueness. So yes, there are difficult conversations to have and sometimes hard to wrap your brain around. Why me? Like, why is this happening this way to me right now? But understanding where you kind of are, where your physiology is in this process, and finding some natural, more holistic kind of ways to support you through that can help alleviate and ease some of the problematic parts that are uncomfortable.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's trying to learn through myself too, so I can help, my clients who are, going through a lot of the same things that I am. It's just like I relate it to a roller coaster. It's like you're
It
like,
is.
everything's cool. You get to the top, you're like, okay, this is wild, and you're like, all right, it's coming back down, and then you're just like, all right, it's over. Nope, just kidding. There's a couple loop-de-loops, so it's just it's a really interesting journey. I've been strength training since I was 14. My brother taught me how to lift weights, and so I'm like, I don't have no problem with this. I eat healthy. All these things. So, no, Leon, I have not been tested for toxins.
Yes.
You should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. There's a lot of great information that you can get if you just listen to your body's messaging. That's how I think of it. So when everything should foundationally be based on what is your body telling you? And the best way to do that is through functional lab testing, in my opinion. Now, I'm a little biased because that's what I do, but it takes it beyond your CBC, your blood panel that you get with your general practitioner, deeper into those specific areas, like I think Leon is speaking to, and others, that there's toxicities, there's mineral and vitamin deficiencies, there are all kinds of environmental influences, there's GI health, right, and gut health, and I mean you can go all over the place if you want, but
Yeah, we can talk
understanding
another
that you
2
have
hours just on that alone, right?
yeah, you got a whole lot of complex systems that all work together. So it's kind of like that forest for the trees thing, right? You have to understand that nothing in the body works in isolation. And so you have to be willing to kind of peel back some layers and dig a little bit deeper and see what is going on in those connections.
I like how you say
Sorry.
nothing works in isolation. And unfortunately, we live in a society where there's so many specialists that if your GP is not proficient, because that's happened to me. Go to cardiologist, go to endocrinologist, go to gastro. And it's like, no one
And no one
saw
is
me
talking
as the whole person
No
I
one
was.
talks to each other.
to each
Yeah,
other.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it took me working with a functional medicine and being proactive to, like, we came on the same mind, like, oh, this is what's going on. I'm like, and it makes sense because I had every single symptom, but no
Yeah.
one was putting it together. They were just like, oh, take more
So they
medication.
were there, and the doctors are I don't know, mad at us because
Yeah.
we Google everything first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're asking too
each
many
other.
questions.
Yes, talk to
Yeah.
each other so we can ask right questions when we need to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
basically, whenever someone comes to me, I start asking questions. Have you tested that? Yes, I know everything. I can read the Akashic records, but you need to know. You need to know. Don't trust me alone. So you need to have some, like, let's say, physical evidence of what I'm saying. It does matter for me, but it matters for the patient.
So I'm gonna jump in here. I think the biggest challenge that we have as practitioners and coaches and doctors, et cetera, is that people in general aren't aware of these practices outside of the medical profession because we're just a society, at least North America based, I think anyway, that we
It's
have a
the same
symptom, we
here.
go to the doctor, and I'm creating a collaborative in my community where I am pulling together functional medicine doctors, coaches, declutter coaches, trauma coaches, et cetera, to create an awareness in the community that they have an option. I think that we're always going to have an upward struggle of, how to create this awareness. But I think if we can continue to do that and let people know that there's another option, um, then we will begin to really make a dent on it. And I really would love to see next to every medical doctor a functional medicine doctor or health coach because 85% of disease is lifestyle. So let's
Every
get it.
disease starts here.
Yeah.
And absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. We went a little over, and for answering questions, and for those who were just behind the scenes listening. And I had lots of great combos today. So this will be uploaded in the Facebook group shortly. As soon as we get it up there. If you missed any of the session, and day one is in there as well right now. And thank you to our speakers. So day one and day two are officially open for those who did not upgrade to the Weight Freedom Pack. So you have until tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern time to watch in day one and to collect the gifts. Day two is open for 48 hours. So you got a lot more time for that one. And day three will be open tomorrow at 8 a.m. to your health. And tomorrow, same time, same station, 11 a.m. Eastern time for day three Q&A session with our speakers. Thank you so much, everyone. To your health and have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.